Welcome to the Vet SOS Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the Vet SOS Lifeline. The Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight is sponsored by Spear Point Solutions. Spear Point Solutions is a one-stop shop for leading-edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. From AI training to corporate gifts and much more, they have everything you need to help your organization thrive in the modern economy. You can check out all the valuable offerings at spearpointonline.com. And remember to use the code VETSOS on anything you purchase there to help the podcast continue its mission of educating our veteran population. Today, I'm sitting down with Paden Sickles, founder of Sickfit. Paden is a dynamic Army veteran, CEO and founder of Sickfit, a woman veteran minority-owned company dedicated to changing the world one sock at a time. Paden combines her military background with entrepreneurial expertise to lead Sickfit's mission of social impact and empowerment. She has been featured in major platforms like Inc., is renowned for her motivational speaking, sharing her journey from soldier to CEO with infectious energy and determination. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. If you've never met Paden in person, she is all go, no stop. So excited to be sitting down with you today, Paden. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing outstandanding, and so glad you're able to join us. I know you're everywhere now, so it's trying to get you booked. So let's start with the military transition piece. So how did your transition out of the military go?
My transition out of the military, it's very fresh. First off, let's put that there. I just transitioned in February, so I'm still adjusting. To be honest, it's been a roller coaster. But I would say really it kind of happened because of what I was going through, and that was things were falling into place professionally in terms of Sickfit, but just falling out of place physically. And I had to make a decision, and that was some people know my story, some people don't, but really it was I had 2 ACL reconstructs back to back. The second one didn't go as well. They hit a nerve in my leg, and I don't really have feeling down my knee, and then I kind of had some herniated disc in my back and some bulging discs, and so it just came naturally, and it just kept getting pulled to entrepreneurship. And whether I like that or not, here I am. But I love it, so it's great.
Yep. It's the medical piece is definitely it's one of those things you can't necessarily overcome, right? So
Absolutely.
All right. Well, definitely glad to have you in the entrepreneur world, and know you're killing it. Last year, pitching at the MIC to this year, being like everywhere at the MIC. It was awesome to see. So you kind of already answered the next question about what led you to become an entrepreneur. So let's jump into the best and the worst parts about being an entrepreneur.
Ooh, the best parts and the worst parts. I think the best part is being able to empower and inspire so many children to want to do the same thing and know that they can do it. There's a lot of kids that kind of, you don't realize they look up to you and you're their role model and you're their hero. But when you actually sit down and you talk to them and you start engaging with them, it's like, wow, like you are the next generation. And this is amazing. Like y'all are looking at me and I'm like, it's a really great feeling. I don't think there's any worst parts in my opinion. I think it's just lessons that we go through and how we kind of remain resilient and continue to persevere. But I would say some of the biggest challenges that I've kind of gone through have been recently. I've kind of had 2 deaths in my family, and it's been we've had like a burglary within our warehouse, and it's been a couple of those things like that. And it's just continuing to show up for yourself and just showing people that it's possible and to keep doing it because something is going to happen on the other side.
Yeah, sorry to hear about the troubles.
Appreciate
it. Definitely something that I would imagine a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're jumping into entrepreneurship. But you get not only the personal stuff, but then, like you said, the warehouse damages as well. And I absolutely love your outlook on the best part about it. I mean, because I've never heard that from an entrepreneur. Granted, we've only been doing this for a couple months, but the fact that you're that in tune with the next generation and the kids coming up and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why we started this show, was to help educate the next part, the next group coming out of the military, and whether they want to be an entrepreneur or do something else. We're hoping that we have the tools there to help educate them. And I love that forward thinking and that want to give back. That's just absolutely amazing. Okay, so have you participated or are you participating in any of the various programs out there that are offered to veterans to help with entrepreneurship, or even maybe some that aren't specific to veterans?
Yeah, so I think that's been the backbone of to kind of how I've been able to succeed and grow, is continually staying involved in the veteran community. I started very early with Boots to Business. When I found Boots to Business, that led me to IVMF, Institute of Veteran Military Families. Within their programs, they have so many, and it's like, they just kept opening all these doors. And then it was going to events like MIC, and then at that time last year was Second Service Foundation, and just continually being able to learn, talk to people, network with people, and just staying, humble and trying to work on your craft and continually learning and being eager to learn. Outside of the veteran community, we recently kind of been approved for 1 million Black women with Goldman Sachs. So that's another program out there. And just the VBOT here in Dallas. It's so amazing to see veterans want to see you win as much as you want to win, and just finding that support system and that tribe. And I say it all the time, but I lean heavily on my veterans. I don't know who I would be or, what I would be doing without them. So very thankful for that.
That is awesome. And I mean, you rattled off some amazing programs, some that I've done myself as well. And I know a lot of the people that I've talked to have done. And it's just fantastic that we have those. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the Goldman Sachs program?
Absolutely. So Goldman Sachs program, I think it's 16 weeks. Don't quote me. But we're actually starting that I think it's January of next year. But essentially, it's about a 16-week program where they kind of take your business and really delve into it and allow you to kind of work on that and kind of help you and get the resources and things that you need. But yeah, so that's what that is in a nutshell.
Fantastic. That's outstanding to hear. All right, so let's jump into it. Tell us about Sickfit.
Yeah. So Sickfit was initially started based off a personal experience, and it was essentially a solution to a problem. And I was receiving a lot of those accolades that we love to chase within the military, being in the Army as an engineer, just showing the soldiers that it's possible to achieve like the expert soldier badge, aerosol, do the spur routes, do all the great things that, make my body hurt now. But it was chasing those. And, the thing is I was receiving the accolades and I was getting the badges, but my feet weren't withstanding the conditions. And it was that, they were bleeding, they were blistered. And what people don't tell you is you got to go home and change your uniform. You don't go right into the graduation. So with that being said, that hurt a lot. And I'm like, I can't be the only one who's doing this. And, as I was doing these more schools, I saw like all these soldiers limping, and I wasn't the only one having it. And I was like, man, like I was spending too much on boots and socks. And I was like, I think I can fix this. So I just started Googling socks. Crazy, right? And fast forward, I ended up figuring out how I wanted to engineer our socks. And now we offer them to service members, athletes, families. It's some Olympians, Paralympians, or para-athletes. And it's just been a journey. It's been a ride. So
that is awesome. So what makes your socks special?
I get that all the time. I think my Google reviews say it better than I do. But really, it's just having all the things that everybody says they have and actually implementing it in the sock. So we like to kind of say it within about 7 main features, and that's our moisture wicking, breathable, energy return, reinforced heel and toe, extra terry cushion at the bottom, just all those things encompassed that make it a unique sock, and then just blending it all together and being super meticulous.
Okay. Now, I was one of those guys that neglected my feet for years. Now, granted, I didn't do a lot of the high speed stuff, but those who know me know I'm a big guy. I put a lot of weight on my feet. So the right shoes, the right socks, it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Someone like me who wears a size 15, it's hard to find socks. So what's your inventory look like? Are you all shapes, sizes, designs? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we do one size fits all, and after you wash it, it kind of molds to your foot, so it gets better over time. But my brother, similar to you, I have two brothers similar to you. One is 6'2". He wears a size 15, I think, as well. And I have another brother. He has very sweaty. They were great subjects, early on. They have vastly different feet. One has sweaty, and one has dry, and one has flat, one has narrow. It was great. I got everything I needed with them. But we do like a one size fits all, and it kind of molds to your foot and gets better. But we have about 3 main socks, and that's one is our boot sock for the military that was specifically designed for the boots and, first responders who are kind of, wear the boots as well. And then we have a performance sock that our athletes love to kind of utilize. And then lastly, we have like a compression blend sock for kind of like our diabetic patients and things like that as well.
Nice. Now, do you have different like designs and themes and stuff like
Oh
that?
yeah,
Or, yeah.
absolutely, definitely. I forgot to answer that. Sorry. Yeah, so we kind of what we do is we pick a theme. We kind of plan it out like a year in advance and kind of go from there. Different colors, different designs. I think my favorite is we did a suicide awareness one that was really really cool. It was actually in honor of someone who committed suicide. It's called Bella's Story, and actually told her story in that sock, and we kind of gave portions of the proceeds back to her family. So I think that's probably one of my favorites. And then 90% of the time I'm wearing a white sock. We have tons of different colors, tons of different designs, but 90% of the time I have on a white sock.
Now, do you take special orders?
Of course, yes. So we love to we do a lot of custom wholesale for different organizations. So a lot of nonprofits, corporate organizations. Yes, I love custom orders. We have one that we're working on currently. It's probably the hardest sock I've ever done. It's very detailed, but yes, that's probably my favorite.
I don't know. We may have to have a conversation about a Vet SOS sock for the MIC. Something that we can give out. We may have to have a discussion about that. I'd love to see what kind of design you could come up with for the podcast, and
the answer is yes. Not even a question. The answer is yes, of course.
That's interesting. I have to talk with the team there. We may have to look into that. That'd be really cool.
I think I know a girl that can help you out.
Nice. So obviously socks are important, and anybody who's spent any time in the military learns that lesson at some point. But athletes know that, and like you said, diabetics and things like that, socks become important. I remember the first time I had to wear compression socks. I'm like, I'm getting old, but it's all good. What's special about socks though? Because like you and I had this conversation the first time we met that, my youngest is a big sock person. He loves different socks and stuff. And in Korea, we used to buy all the theme socks when he was little, the kid socks. And he had thousands of socks. It was ridiculous. But what is people's draw to socks? Because it almost seems like it's kind of like the same as the sneaker following, some people really get into socks.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to answer this in a way that you don't expect. But for me, it's been able to, one, change the industry essentially. And I've created a new outlook and a new perspective on how the sock is perceived and utilized. So at MIC, we had the very first ever sock mural. So it was bringing awareness to a saturated market and an innovative approach. And the beauty of the sock is it's just a sock. That's it. They're great socks, but it's just a sock. But we were able to transform that one item and add the philanthropy piece to it and make impact. So that mural that you all saw at MIC, we were able to donate 350 pair of socks to hurricane victims. And, next year we're kind of working on something where I met this kid. This is no lie. He owns a sock company. I'm like, what? But we brought him into our organization now, and he's mentored by me, and he's on track, and we're starting to get his business kind of in line and structured, and it's the impact that we're able to make through socks just by one item, and just kind of you can tell a lot by a person. I make sock contact before I make eye contact, but it's becoming its own little culture. So I think that's the beauty in it for me. That's why I love socks, and socks are super passionate to me.
That I've been very open during my transition and post-transition that I have no taste in clothing or anything like that. My style is horrible. And if it wasn't for my wife, I'd probably be in gym shorts and a tank top all the time. But some people have a serious sock game, and I'm glad you're out here adding to it, Paden. I mean, first of all, I love you to death. I love talking with you. I love your passion. I love, what you're trying to do and what you are doing. Mm-hmm. And it's just absolutely amazing. Fantastic organization you're building. And the fact that you started it giving back from the beginning. It's not something that you're like, oh, well, now I should probably give back. It was part of your DNA when you started. So as we get ready to close, what's the best place that people in the audience can connect with you, check out, your product, and even connect with you to maybe pick your brain, have an informational interview?
Absolutely. We can start on LinkedIn. That's Paden Sickles. And then we also have the Sickfit LinkedIn as well, SICKFIT. Across all platforms, it's Sickfit Official, and then sickfitofficial.com.
Nice. Absolutely. This is fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. And if she's at an event, go talk to her. It'll definitely be awesome. Thank you, Paden, for joining us today on the podcast. On behalf of the entire VES SOS family, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and follow. And remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VES SOS Lifeline.